My name is Kendra Beaver. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Climate Justice Coordinator for the Fairmount Indigo CDC Collaborative, which is a group of 3 community development corporations in Boston that serve the communities along the Fairmount commuter line. Yeah, what gives me energy? I would almost change to like who gives you energy, because I find that both professionally and personally, it's really the people that I meet and the people that are involved in the work that I'm doing who are the ones that really keep me inspired and give me hope and keep me curious. So I would say that is all of the wonderful community members that we work with, neighbors of my own, friends, family, and of course colleagues throughout FICC and our partner organizations. I think that energy can be a really complex topic. Even as someone who works in the climate and environmental field, I still find myself very confused sometimes and seeking the support of folks who have a bit more expertise than myself. And I just think that if I can't even really wrap my head around everything, that of course people who aren't interested or aren't really involved in energy, either personally or professionally, would find it really difficult to figure out what's going on and what resources there are that they can access and things that they can advocate for. So I think that when you start doing advocacy with community members, that gives you the baseline of where people are at, where most people are at, and some gaps that you might need to fill, and information that needs to be shared before you can move forward in more complex processes. Yeah, I would describe my career even more broadly than clean energy, and more so in sustainability and climate and environmental justice. I've done work for all sorts of different groups, FICC being the longest employer of mine, but I've also worked in philanthropy and higher education and in other nonprofit organizations. And the takeaway that I've had from all this is that, kind of similarly to the previous question, it's all really complex and everything is so related, that it's important to have folks who have a broad understanding of things, but also folks who have a really specific expertise in all of the different topics that are relevant to clean energy and climate work, in order to ensure that the work that's being done is as impactful to community members and to the folks that many of us are trying to reach as possible. And I'm also just really always surprised by people and inspired by their passion for this work, and that's really what keeps me engaged and wanting to stay on this path, because the folks that I've met in this field are some of the most passionate I've ever met. I decided to go into the broadly sustainability and environmental field because I realized that something that was really important to me when I was growing up was the time that I spent outdoors and in the natural environment, be that gardening in my backyard or going to parks or taking hikes with friends and family. And I realized that that's something special that I experienced that influenced my passion for protecting the earth And as time went on and I grew older, I realized that that isn't an experience that everyone grows up with, and that I really wish more people had access to the natural environment in such positive ways as I did. So that's kind of what helped me decide that this was the path I wanted to take. And in college, I was an environmental science major for 3.5 semesters until I realized that the courses that I wanted to take would qualify me for an environmental studies major, which is a BA versus a BS. Because the humanities side of things, the social science of things, the policy, the economics, the more human-focused side of this work was more what got me excited than the science side of things. So that's where I kind of transitioned from more of a STEM major to more of an environmental and climate justice focused student and now professional. Since graduating college, I've just been so much more exposed to how much there is to learn and how much there is that you can be involved in when it comes to environmental justice and climate justice advocacy and work. And I think that my experience in this work has also really made me humble, because there is so much to figure out, and like I said previously, even as someone who's in the field professionally, it can still be very complex. So I bring that curiosity and that interest in learning more and bringing that information to people who don't yet have it to my work. Yeah, so I joined the Energy Allies Community Advisory Board, or CAB, pretty shortly after I began in my role at FICC in the fall of 2021, when we were reached out to and invited to join the CAB. At that time, the CAB was more of a kind of learning space, which brought together numerous stakeholders, including nonprofits like FICC, who represented certain communities in Boston. And we were learning about what community solar could look like, the different varieties of community solar options, and what types of community solar would most benefit the environmental justice communities of Boston. And that was such a learning experience for me, having had very little experience when it comes to the technicalities of developing solar, and even kind of the economics behind it. So that was really valuable. And then as time went on, the CAB kind of transitioned into partnering with some local cooperatives, and now we are more focused on the Boston Community Solar Cooperative, and developing a community-owned solar co-op in Boston, which has been also such a learning experience, figuring out how to draft the bylaws of a co-op, what membership looks like, what the benefits to members and community members could be. So it's been really awesome to be exposed to things that I don't think I would otherwise have been exposed to. And I'm very honored to represent the Fairmount communities in this work and try and support a project that most benefits them. Yeah, to touch on what I said in the previous response, I think that I've really appreciated the patience that Energy Allies came with for myself and other members of the CAB who didn't necessarily have the technical expertise about what community solar and solar entails. And I'm really still very much learning and appreciate folks needing to repeat or take things a little slow, and recognize that we're all working towards the same goal but come with different backgrounds. And I think that that is indicative of how the project that we eventually develop we'll treat new members and community members who are interested in getting involved, recognizing that if you're interested and you're passionate, there's space for you. And even if you don't really know enough to be interested or passionate yet, we still want to help you learn and hope that you'll join us.